Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Survivor recap. It's sad to not have the other part of the recap to talk about,
Where do you
but
have your camera placed? I don't mean to totally ruin the show, but you're always looking right into the camera, and I'm always
oh,
looking over here
is it really? I
oh yeah,
actually I have it.
because I look at the screen and look at your face when you're talking, and I swear you're just talking to me. You're just like, hey Jason,
Well,
what's going
well,
on?
I
And
have it right there. Can't you see it? It's right there.
see,
No,
I need to
it's
stick mine to my monitor,
well,
so
that's
it's
why
got to get
mine's
right
it's
there, so fucking
it's
face.
above my monitor. But I always feel like when I watch it back that I'm looking down because I have to look down
But yeah, you are
for the
right
thing.
now.
Yeah, it's because
I don't know. A lot of times when you're
I'm looking at
talking,
you. A lot
it's
of
like
times I
right at
try
the
to
camera.
look at the camera.
Ah,
I make a
how about
conscious
that?
effort to be like,
Ah, I see.
um, before we get into Survivor, though, I got a question for you, real quick. Have you watched the latest Amazing Race?
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle of watching it, but so then my question's not about the whole episode. But I was really confused at the beginning of we don't talk about Amazing Race much because I'm never always caught up in that show. But they had to get early flights to Singapore. Two teams go and show up and go, what's the earliest flight to Singapore? And the guy gives him a flight. And then a third team shows up and he's like, oh, I'll get you in 40 minutes ahead of them. How the hell does that happen?
So the show gives them a recommended flight. And
Okay.
so that's the flight the first two teams took. What's the recommended flight?
But I didn't hear him walk in and go, just give me this flight. They said, we want
No,
to
I
get in
think
the earliest.
because he says at one point, John says, God, is his name John too? Why are the idiots named John? Um, I think his name is John though, isn't it? Anyways, he says, are you sure? She's like, yes, the recommended. He's like, all right, let's go with it then. There ain't nothing better. Like she mentions that it is the recommended flight because he kind of questioned it for a second.
Because,
Like,
well, but
should we look
they
around?
specifically asked the travel agent, like, what's get us in the earliest to
Yeah.
Singapore? And
Well,
he
she
was,
even and because they're going through Charles de Gaulle, and she's like, "Well, there's probably nothing landing before 6:40, anyways." There's nothing landed in the busiest airport in the world. Wait. I'm sorry. That's in London, actually. But still, this is the France. This is the Paris airport. There's nothing before 6:40. Nothing
it's,
lands before that ever. Never. Anyways, that was just those people are idiots. They are the John and Jacqueline of Amazing Race.
it's,
Both of them.
yeah, I was just really confused. And I was like, maybe Good will
Yeah,
know. Like, Good will know the
they were just
answer.
being dumb. They should have asked to let's see all the flights, and they didn't.
And now I think it's funny because he mentioned something about like a new rule this season. And granted, it's the only season I've ever watched, but is that you can't rebook your flight.
I don't think
So,
it's new this season. I think that's been since 9/11. You couldn't rebook because they would have to pre-book certain number of flights, so you can't rebook because there's only a certain number of flights that they've pre-booked.
okay, but did they used to actually be able to
Oh yeah, they would go in there and they'd be like, book this, book this, book this, book
really?
this. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow,
It was
that's
it was crazy because it was the airlines were different back then.
yeah. This game has changed a lot.
Yeah.
But anyways, off of
Survivor.
Amazing Race to Survivor. So big
The
week.
first thing I want to bring up is that I was right. They put that idol back after John Rocker got voted
So
out.
okay, that's I was going to ask because they were looking for an idol, like Natalie and Baylor were looking for an idol at the beginning, and I was like, where the hell did this idol come from? So, but I don't remember them getting the clue to it. Was it last week, and I just didn't pay
No, they
attention?
got it whenever the fuck, because it was whenever
It
they were on separate tribes that they went.
it wasn't the same one. It wasn't the same location. This
Oh,
one,
it was the next location where they moved John Rockers to. You know what I'm saying? Like after John Rocker left, that was location two.
I don't
So
remember them ever having a clue that was different though, because remember they all got a clue at Exile, and the clues had to be the same because you didn't know who was walking away with it.
right.
So
We talked about that too,
we
and I
did.
also was like, I don't remember it being different, but I think we both just didn't pay close enough attention.
But the thing is, the other idol was still there in that first location by the well at that point. Keith hadn't found it yet, so it couldn't. It had to
Right.
be.
Hmm.
I
That's
don't
a good
recall
point.
where this came from because this one was by the
It
flag.
was on Exile that they got the clue because they got it whenever they weren't. I'm pretty sure it was when it was on Exile they got the clue.
I don't. Either way, there's another idol that was found in this episode, which is good. I just don't know where it came from, and maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know. I'm
I
just,
I believe it was added after John Rocker got voted out. I think that was location two. But you're right because we talked about that back then. How the clue would have to be different.
yeah, I'm not sure that. I think that might have been a clue that was given at the merge. I think it was a new idol that was hidden at the merge.
I don't want to believe that.
Because that's the only way that's the only way it makes sense, though. It probably was John Rocker's idol. Like, who knows? They might not have put one in there had John Rocker not gone out with an idol. But because that would be shit. How many idols would be in play then? 1, 2, 3, 5.
I thought there was only 3 in play right now.
Oh yeah, 4. I guess it'd be it'd make 4 total idols in play during the game. That's a lot of idols.
Right. Well, we're so used to them playing the idols when they get them instead of sitting on them forever.
Yeah.
So
Producers were like, "Come on, guys, just get this going. Like, here, have some more idols. Maybe people will play."
Right. If everyone has an idol, someone might play it.
You get an idol, and you get an idol.
Oh man.
So Natalie finds it. I think Natalie found it. Natalie or Baylor? Like, which one actually?
Natalie found it, but Baylor was grabbing for that shit, man. I swear she was trying to get it in her hands first.
So Natalie officially has the idol.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because that, I think, is going to come out big. Natalie, I think, is questioning what's happening with her.
Well, yeah,
her alliance.
The last episode where we talked about the fact that her alliance did not include her in that vote. Remember?
Right. And she was upset at the beginning of this one.
Yeah, you're right. They did do the whole at the start of this episode. Let's talk about the strategy that went into this vote. So we kind of got, because remember last week we were talking about how there was just this total like, what the fuck happened at the vote? We don't know what strategy went into it, and they did start this episode out by kind of talking about that a little bit with Natalie and stuff.
Right. Which is it wasn't nearly as intense as I hoped it would be, because I thought that it was actually a legitimate big blindside last time.
Yeah,
and it was like a little piece.
Right.
We'll give you some. We'll give you something. Keep you wanting more.
I love how Keith was talking about Reed. I don't know if you caught that, where he was like, he's got all them mathematical numbers and stuff.
He made some comment like he brings like math into it and numbers. I'm like, well, there's no other way to do math.
All the mathematical numbers and all that mess.
Yeah.
I had to write it down because it was just that good.
That was. I
don't think he gives himself enough credit. I feel like Keith's pretty smart.
I feel like Keith is definitely very street smart. He's definitely not book smart, and I think he knows that. But he knows what's going on. He keeps a real good clue into the human psyche of Survivor or whatever. But that does bring us to, well, I guess that's the immunity challenge. But so we can go to the reward challenge first.
Right, that was the team challenge. So here's what pisses me off about this show at this moment, or in this season. Whenever they were teams, all they fucking could do was individual challenges, and now that they're individuals, all they seem to do is team challenges.
That is kind of weird. They did a lot of individual challenges at the beginning of this season. Yeah, that's interesting.
Doesn't make any damn sense. Why are you doing the team challenges individual? Like, what? Anyways, that's just that peeve of mine.
I already actually forgot what the reward challenge was.
Pieces in the water after build statue man.
That's the build statue man. Okay. Yeah. So the well, wait, what the hell was the immunity challenge then?
The immunity was something else.
That's...
stand, don't perch, hold.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot it was one of those. Okay. I'm back in line. I just watched the show. You'd think I'd know this stuff. I literally like an hour ago watched it, so I didn't even take notes, thinking, I'll know all this stuff. Like it's like cramming it for a test right before. You remember it all for a day, and then it's gone. So again, your great old schoolyard pick. So schoolyard
they
pick.
Don't show it, so
at least they told us it was a schoolyard pick.
Right. I think they tell us whenever someone's going to get sat out, and they don't tell us whenever there's going to just be teams. Because last week there was just teams, no one got sat out, and they were like, "Let's pick our teams." I think it was still a schoolyard pick.
I think it's huge to see that, because what did you think about Keith not getting picked?
Right, and you notice, like, I think that the order Jeff says their names afterwards is the order they got picked in. I think. I don't know. I've just decided this because the last one that gets mentioned is Wes, and so I think that's why I think Wes was the last one picked, and so he couldn't pick his dad.
Who do you think started? Who was the guaranteed? Like, who gets to make the first pick for their team?
I don't know. Maybe who won immunity last time? Who currently had immunity? The first name he said was Reed, but I don't know if that means Reed started it all.
I don't think Reed had immunity last time because he just snuck through the vote last time.
Right. That's why. Yeah, I couldn't remember who had immunity, but yeah, they started with Reed. It was Reed, Alex, Jacqueline, John, then Missy, Natalie, Baylor, West.
Because I would have taken Keith over Missy any day. We've seen Keith in the water challenge before, and he did awesome. Like, he's an old man, but he rocked through that thing.
Right.
Yeah. And I was just like, why are you going to say Keith out and have Missy on your team? Because that's the complete opposite of what I would, or even
I wonder if
Natalie.
Missy started the pick for blue. I don't know.
Or even Natalie. I wouldn't have wanted. Natalie's not a strong swimmer. It's, she's good at other challenges, but she's not a strong swimmer. It's, I don't know.
Baylor and West were the two top on the blue team, and blue had a lead, but yellow, Reed and Alec on yellow were just like,
yeah, they were people I definitely would have picked for my team as well. Like, so
John, but John was slow as hell too. John's John. I hate that couple. They're both worthless. Anyways, just want to get that out there.
So are you liking Natalie more and more since you have other people to hate more and more?
She's given me no reason in Survivor to dislike her. I hate to say it.
So you'd be okay with her winning the game?
No. Let's not go that far.
Would you be okay with John or Jacqueline winning the game?
God, no. I would. At this point, fuck, I don't want anyone to win.
I definitely don't want Missy or Baylor to win. I think I'd go Reed. I'd go Reed at the top of that list to win.
Probably.
And that's only
getting Alex even there. Like, that guy hasn't said or done anything notable the entire
that's
season.
because he learned, even though he wasn't over there, but his brother got his ass kicked on out for being just like an over-talky douchebag.
Because he was so cocky right after his brother got kicked out, and then he just disappeared.
Yep.
Like, he's been off the radar ever since then. What the fuck? Did someone, like, bitch slap him and be like, you need to shut your fucking mouth if you want to stay? And he was like, okay.
Yes, sir. Or ma'am.
What happened? That's crazy.
What do you think about the budget for creating these challenges? I think the budget must have gotten cut from Survivor completely.
You talk about that too. Like, okay, so the reuse and the whole season is on a previous set, basically. And like every challenge, it's like, oh, we're gonna reuse some of this old shit we got over here. Got it,
I mean, at least this time they took one of the ramps and turned it. So it looked a little bit different, whereas the last time they did it, it was literally, we'll keep the whole entire backdrop up and put like one extra plank and be like, this is your new challenge set.
Right.
But
yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. It kind of makes me worry about the future of the show. Like, are they in trouble right now? Like, what's going on? Why is there such...
I think Survivor's getting more and more popular. I think it had a high, and then it went down, and I think since Russell Hentz came back in, I think it's really started to drive Survivor back up, but maybe I'm wrong, because it seems like they're just cutting the budget left and right.
Well, at the end of the last season, the last season ended really awkward to me because Jeff pulled all these kids out on the stage, but in the crowd, and was like, we need the youth of America to watch the show, and we need the youth, the youth is the future of Survivor.
You're right, I forgot about that. And he was like, you guys may be future contestants on Survivor, and under his breath he was like, if we're still on the air.
Right, as long as you fuckers start watching, maybe we'll be right. Yeah, that's what it felt. It felt like, all right, we're a little bit in trouble right now. Remember the children?
Next season, it's going to be like, the winner gets $20.
Right. A gift card to Starbucks.
But you can still come for the experience anyways.
Yeah. It's really all about the show, not the money.
Yeah, so that was the first thing that I noticed as they were zooming in on it. I was like, that's the same exact set. Just turn, one ramp is turned around. That's all they did.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
But I thought it was a decent challenge.
I hate the challenges where there's RNG involved. Like, so they get all the way through, and now they have 4 keys. So they have a 1 in 4 chance of opening this up right now and start to build their statue. Or they could have what happens to blue, and they could go to the 4th key and actually open up their shit.
Though, like, you got to admit that it took them an excessively long amount of time to get to key 4.
They're not very good with keys, right? But I like shit that's like straightforward, skill-based. Like, the winner is determined by who performs the best, not who gets lucky.
Right. Well, so what do you think about the challenges where they bury something in the sand in a big circle area?
See, I kind of hate those too, because it's like,
if I pick the right spot at the beginning, I get it. And I can agree with that, because it takes away the skill aspect of a challenge, because it's pure just random number generation. That's all it is. So yeah, I can agree with that. Do you think that's what killed Blue Team?
No, I think they were already way too behind at the point they got there, so it didn't matter. It was just, it was one of those things that was one of my pet peeves. But no, I think they were. They dropped the ball.
What'd you think about that puzzle? I thought the puzzle was like this most
Yeah,
simplistic thing I've
it
ever
was the
seen.
easiest puzzle they've ever had on the show. It was like you could not go wrong
Here,
almost.
stack these blocks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like puzzle
Yeah.
over.
Well, I guess that's why the whole key thing mattered so much, right? Normally, you have that chance on the puzzles to come from behind.
Right.
And I don't think there was ever a chance in this puzzle.
No.
It was like you said, just put these blocks up.
Unless they like built the statue upside down or something. That would
Right.
be that would be the only way. They throw it in the water for no reason. They're like, "Oh, see ya." Like, go chill with those props. We'll see you in a challenge later, I'm sure, because you'll be back.
So after the reward, Reed.
Well, do you want to talk about the reward first?
Okay, no, I'm sorry, not after the reward, but
Okay.
before the reward.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's, all right. So the reward was to go give out baseball equipment. Which, okay.
They always have that, ambassadors of good faith challenge that
Right.
happens in
But now
a
Jeff
reward.
said something like, "Baseball's the most played sport in the world, but it's not. It's soccer." But anyways, uh, just I don't know. I thought that was kind of like I don't even know. It was weird. So yeah, they was gonna do that, and Reed just gives his shit to Missy. Why did that happen?
Now, Baylor mentioned something about like how she was so sad because her mom hadn't gone on a reward yet. I think Reed was still trying to play the "I voted with you guys last time" card, like keep me around, but he didn't really make any deal about it to make it actually help him at all.
Yeah, he was just like, yeah, I don't really want to go give kids baseball.
He's like, I hate kids.
Yeah.
That's-
There's no food. I'm out.
So I
Was
mean,
there food?
there was food. They ate baseball food, like the popcorn
What the fuck
and
is? Oh, okay.
the
It's like-
popcorn and hot dogs
that's-
and things like that. Though was surprised they didn't have beer because I think of that as baseball. They had like bottles of orange soda, and I was like, that was interesting. I just expected some beer to be at this challenge.
What's for the kids? Can't have beer
I mean,
for the kids.
kids didn't have to have the beer. I mean, but I don't know what the drinking age is there either. Maybe it's one of those things like 5. There you go. Have a beer. So, yeah, so Reed gives up his spot, and I can't tell. Maybe he was just planting a seed to kind of be like, hey, you're going to remember this. I'm not going to make a big deal about it, but if you think about putting my name down, you're going to be like, well, Reed did give me that spot. Whereas Natalie and Jeremy, when they gave up their spot, they were like, we take care of those who take care of us, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
right.
remember me.
Remember me.
So I don't really know what his deal was with that.
While they were gone, we learned that Jacqueline has MRKH. Were you familiar with that disease?
I was not. Did you look it up?
I did. I did.
So it's like, oh God, what the hell is it? Markhausen, Huzhausen, like
It sounds like Dr. Seuss made it up.
Sicarian. Yeah, it does. It's like, I think it's a bunch of German names that are like put together. But I mean, it sounds like a very horrible disease, and it
It
messes with
does.
the reproductive
She could
tract.
possibly not even have a vagina.
It's so. What does that make it?
It says that they're basically. She must be pretty lucky because otherwise she wouldn't be able to be on the show because it says that it's common for them to have really bad heart defects, like their whole inner organs are deformed, like their like all their women parts are much smaller than they should be and stuff like that. So she must have a pretty mild case of it because it says a lot of times they have like really bad heart issues and she couldn't be on the show if she did. So and also really brittle bones is another thing I read about it. So
Man, yeah, it sounds like a horrible, horrible thing, and she's very lucky because not only is she, alive and not obviously debilitated, but she, besides the fact that she can't have kids, but she doesn't seem debilitated in other ways. I mean, she's a gorgeous woman who, like, Miss Michigan, like, she's got a lot of stuff going for her
Yeah,
still for
right.
having this thing. So yeah, she's very lucky. But what'd you think about when they threw that in there? I felt like for a minute I was watching like a Celebrity Chopped, where they sit
Yeah.
back and they talk about their charity for a minute, and I was just like, what am I watching all of a sudden here? Like, I've never seen Survivor really
yeah, it
go
was
into something
out of
like that.
place a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, not that it's a bad thing to bring awareness to all that stuff, but it was not the normal Survivor way to go
I've
out.
never even heard of it, so
I mean, hell, they had a dude on there with one leg before. I don't remember why he only had one leg, but they didn't go into some big spiel about like the One-Legged Man Foundation or anything like that.
is there a one-legged man?
Yeah, I don't know, probably. There's foundations
What's
for
kind of
everything.
evil villain? Just a one-legged man.
Well, the One Arm
Foundation.
Man Foundation's all about the fugitives. So, so reward happens. They get back from the reward. Oh no. So they send Wes to exile.
Oh yeah.
I almost forgot that they had, because they literally were like, Wes, go to exile, and he was like, okay, see ya. And all of a sudden before the challenge, he's like, hey guys, and
Yeah,
that was it. That was the whole
so him
thing.
on exile.
Yeah, I
Very,
wanted to
like,
see
was
him.
crying and like worst day of his life, and Wes just like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I went to exile. I'm back
I
now.
wanted to see him scavenging around that mountain looking for the reward, or I want to know what, or the idol. I want to know what he even did. Did he go there and like not even open up the pot? Did he?
Right, that's fine. We have no idea what he did
That's,
there.
I mean, he could have just been like looked at it and been like, I don't understand a word this thing says, and like thrown it away. He could have spent the whole time looking for it. He could have caught a bunch of fish and like made this like big feast. Who knows what he did? And I'm really curious. Did he just go sit there and go,
He was the thinking man.
yeah, the whole time, just for 2 days or whatever? I don't even know how long he was out there for.
That's weird. It's weird. Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that they just totally excluded that man.
Yeah, I think they could have put in like 30 seconds just to be like, to show him out there and be like, yeah, I'm on exile, I'll make it survive. And like, that's it. Like, I granted, maybe nothing important happened, but just something. It was like, he just walked away, he walked back in. That was all. That was end of story.
all good.
Yep.
Oh man.
So I'm trying to think if they did a lot of beach stuff at that point, or if they went to straight to the immunity
All they
challenge.
really showed on the island was the whole immunity.
Oh yeah,
idol.
that's right. Finding the idol thing.
And they didn't really show. I don't really remember even seeing the people come back from seeing the kids. It was just like, now we're at immunity. I thought, I don't, maybe they did, but I don't
Yeah.
remember any kind of camp life. Basically,
I can't imagine being the guy who edits that show, man. It would be the hour. Can you imagine watching like 7 hours of footage like on the beach and being like, "Yep, that was all useless," and then just throwing it away
right.
and like going out with your life.
yeah.
Like, that was it. 7 hours wasted.
Watch you do an 8 hour shift or whatever.
Yep.
Nothing makes it out of that cut. You get them go home.
Yep. The next
Like,
guy.
what'd you do today? I sat and listened to these fucking people talk about food and sex, and none of it could even be used.
Oh god, it was yeah, that would be a rough job for sure. So anyways, they get to immunity challenge. This immunity,
They finally had some temptation. I like it when the food comes out.
I love the temptation challenges because I love to see who drops, who feels safe. Exactly what they talked about in the show. Who thinks they're safe, who just can't resist certain food, who knows that they're going to be out and therefore they go for something. And I also like the endurance challenges. I like him better like that because you could actually still communicate, though it didn't show communicating too much. But I don't like the ones where they're so concentrated on like hugging a tree that they don't even like talk to each other.
Right.
Whereas this one they had the ability to, though they didn't too much.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of banter. It didn't seem like. Yeah.
Yeah, no deals. I haven't seen a deal in a long time on one of these.
You mean like where if you do this and I do this, then this will happen
Yeah.
type of thing?
Like,
Yeah.
like if you step down, I'll make sure you're safe. I'll join your alliance, or I won't vote for you, or whatever.
Right.
I haven't seen those in a while. And there wasn't that much temptation food this time
Well,
either.
I can't believe anyone stepped down for that candy. Like a plate of candy, like just thinking about how that would fuck up your stomach being the only thing you put in it. Like I wouldn't want the candy.
I agree with you guys. When he was eating that candy down, I was like, he's gonna like hate himself in an hour.
Yeah.
But at the same time, do you think he just knew for a fact he wasn't
They
going
were up
anywhere?
there for 8 minutes at that point.
But maybe that's as long as it was going to take him to know that I'm not going to survive this challenge.
Oh wait, it was 7 minutes. I'm sorry, I gave him too much
Yeah,
credit
you
there.
gave too much credit.
I don't know, maybe. I was blown away at whatever he said. I mean, it was John, so I was not surprised, but
Or do you think he was that confident that he wasn't going home?
I think he was. I think he was. I think he had decided the moment anything comes out, he was going to step down. He should have held out for something other than candy there.
Oh yeah. Like what did they have? They had that. They had
Next, next Missy steps out at the 30-minute mark. She didn't get shit.
yeah. And then like 2 minutes later, they bring out food.
Right. Wes was calling for a donut burger.
Yes, he was. He was calling for that at the candy part.
Yeah, at
So
the very start, like donut burger.
yeah, he was sort of right. It was candy-ish.
Then next comes the chocolate chip cookies and milk for 2, and Baylor and Jack.
Oh yeah, I thought that was weak.
Yeah.
Weak.
I wouldn't want either of. I mean, I know that chocolate's one of the main things they talk about while they're out there. So maybe that is the thing that you just crave and you don't realize you're going to crave it.
But you know they jumped off before they knew what it was.
Yeah, that's true. He just yeah,
Because
she
Wes
was
straight up said, "Hey, if two people step off, do they get to share?" And he was like, "That's perfect. I made this for two." And all of a sudden, it was like, "Pew!" Like
yeah,
they
yeah.
were over there as he was like revealing what it was.
And then you see like Wes like, oh.
Yeah, no. So what if three came off? Does the third
Yeah,
person
I
get
wondered
nothing?
that too. Like, could he have like give me a fucking cookie and I want a sip of that milk, or is it just you're screwed? You're the third. You're nothing for you. Don't know. Yeah.
There was that, and then there was the chicken wings.
Yep.
Now
And two beers.
that's worthy to step off for,
Yep.
except for you're closer to the end. That's, I guess, a point where you determine, am I going to make it or not? And if I don't think I can go very much farther, I'm easily taking those chicken wings. The chicken wings might be a temptation enough to get me off of that.
I think so. It was already 45 minutes in. Yeah. I think I would have done what Wes did. And Keith got mad at Wes. Wes like, we'll have to talk, or Keith's like, we'll talk about this later.
We'll have a
son.
little father-son after this challenge.
And then I think Wes got drunk or something because then he's like, I want to say 58 chicken wings in 5 minutes.
I ate 55 chicken nuggets at the chicken nugget, or in 5 minutes at the chicken nugget challenge, or what did he call it?
And they're like, what? Where the fuck did that come from? And then a few minutes later, he's sitting there and he's like, oh, God, what was the other thing he said? I think I wrote it down. Oh, yeah. He likes 2.5 Men. That's the basic thing.
Yes.
But he's like, you remember that? Don't, like, what the fuck did he even say?
Well,
It was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So apparently, what I'm gathering from it, and I never looked it up to find out, but I'm gathering that Jeff Probst did a spot on 2.5 Men where he cooked
That's what I thought,
bacon
too.
naked.
Yeah, cooking bacon naked. But what the fuck did that have to do with Natalie spitting on
I
herself?
don't know.
It was so like
'Cause he was like, oh,
2 beers, man. They did him in, I swear.
oh yeah, Natalie spit on herself. That reminds me of your penis, Mr. Probst.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That guy is a trip.
Like, I think he is who I want to win the whole thing, not because I think he like deserves it or was smart enough to win it all, but he's my favorite of all the people left.
Because he's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Um,
so he steps down for that. Then Keith steps down for nothing because his feet turned purple.
yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I'm really shocked that, because that was after like an hour and a half.
Right.
You'd think if you were standing in a way that was cutting off circulation to your feet, that it would happen a long time before an hour and a half into the challenge.
They were purple.
So he must have moved himself into a funny position and just couldn't get himself back out of it, because otherwise it would have happened early on.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. His feet look rough.
Oh
Like,
yeah, they look bad.
yeah. It's weird they put him in because he could have kept staying up. Oh, wait, what if they like lose their limbs? I don't know. It's like they could force themselves to stay up to the point where they hurt themselves. It seems like.
I think this challenge could have been a lot longer and a lot more people would have stayed in and a lot more temptation would have happened if they allowed them. Because they said if you ever let go or if a foot ever comes off of this platform. But if they let them like lift a foot up every so often like they usually do, I think this thing could have gone on for like 10 hours. And I think they're trying to avoid that.
I think so too. I think they're starting to try to because they had some of those old challenges where it's like, we're 8 hours in now,
Yep.
12 hours in,
Yep.
and Jeff's like, oh fucking hell. So I think Jeff is ready to get back to the 5-star hotel every day. I don't know who's to blame, but it feels like the challenges have gotten shorter and simpler.
Do you think he even went to this challenge knowing it could be one of the longer ones, going, God damn it, I gotta go to work
right?
today, putting in my overtime. Like, now, at the end of it all, Reed's up there, Natalie's up there. I'm like holding, I'm holding fingers out, but
they both look calm.
Yeah.
They're 3 hours in at that point.
Yeah, they were 3 hours in, which means, I mean, it was a good, because Keith did come down, it was like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean, it was, there
and
were,
then Alex falls right after that.
yeah, so it was a good hour and a half that they just stood up there for with nothing happening. No temptations.
I'm sure Wes was filling them with tons of banter.
Do you think that there was temptations thrown in the middle there that they didn't take?
I wonder. I feel like they would have shown. If they'd walked out there with something.
I also feel they would have shown Exile Island or a
well,
Schoolyard
that's
Pick
true.
as well.
And the
So
fact she so at the end there, Natalie just throws out a request.
Mhm.
I thought she was requesting one thing. She ordered a buffet. She got it. One of those things was pizza, and they had never shown pizza. So maybe pizza did come by at some point.
and then
they
she
didn't
brought it
use-
back in because she was like,
Right.
maybe I'll take it now, like bring it
Yeah.
on back. I wonder if it
Maybe.
was like old and because at some point those pizzas are hot.
Right.
Where they obviously aren't hot anywhere at the challenge unless they have somebody delivering them in from somewhere at the marks when they're going to be.
I think they do. I think they bring that shit in. I think like the cookies come in, they're like fresh baked, the most delicious shit you'll ever eat
So
right here.
do you think that the people stand? It's a different than what we see, and that they're standing there on that pole, they're holding on, and they're like, "Oh, there's the delivery guy. We got something about to come." Like,
Yeah, I do. I think they see that shit come rolling in like a damn bell cart, and they're like, "Oh God, what's it gonna be?"
that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. So yeah, she gets her buffet and steps down and collapses.
So here's what I wanted to happen. I don't know if you thought the same thing, but normally in the challenges like these, when you get food because you step down, you stop eating the moment the challenge is over.
Yes, I was waiting for that to happen because she would step down for a reward and he'd be like, "Nope, challenge is over. You don't get any of that food." Like
That's what I wanted
that's-
so bad.
Yep. That is normally what it is. The second the challenge is over, the eating is done. Like, so eat fast is what it usually comes down to.
Yeah. So she should have been able to run over there, start eating, and then the moment Reed stepped down, Jeff should be like, "All right, challenge is over. Put the food away."
Yep. But she wouldn't have made it because she collapsed on the ground
Oh, that's
and,
right.
and,
That's
and
right.
couldn't move.
That's right. And that was making me want it even more because like they could neither one of them could stand up, and I was like, man, if she doesn't stand, if Reed stands up and gets his immunity necklace, the challenge is over. She doesn't even get any food, but it wasn't in the cards, man. I
Nope.
wanted that to be the case so bad.
I think he felt bad. I think he realized how much everybody was actually hurting and he was like, "Yeah, go for it." Like,
Right. I wonder if that was like. I wonder if he was gonna do that and then he didn't. Who knows? Yeah.
so then planning for
The rest of the episode.
what what I have to say though turned out to be one of the most entertaining tribal councils I've watched yet.
Only because Keith fucked it up. Like Keith ruined tribal.
You think so?
I think so. I think that the votes. I do not think John would have played his idol if Keith had not turned to Reed and said, "So the plan's still on, right?" And then everyone freaked out. And then that's whenever Natalie said, "You better play your idol, John."
So, let me try to think about this. So the whole plan was that Keith, Wes, Reed, Alec, and one other person were going to vote for John.
Yes.
who was
Wes,
the
Alex,
fifth?
Keith, Reed. We're gonna vote John.
Just four?
I think so.
Because that would have ended in a.
No, because they thought that they were going to be four Keith, three Wes, splitting. But part of that was
Alec and Reed,
and
both.
Reed, right, voting.
Okay.
So it would have been like 2 and 3, and then 4 would have voted for John.
Yeah, so Alec and Reed were pretending they were going to vote for Keith when they were in actuality going to vote for John, and the other alliance was splitting the votes between Keith and Wes because knowing one of them had an idol somewhere. So the plan was to get John out because he would end up with one more vote than everybody else, like blindsided completely, which was a freaking brilliant plan.
Like I think it would have made sense if they had just went for Jacqueline, honestly. Like you had to
Because
think that John is going to play the idol for himself, and Jacqueline's not going to get the idol.
I don't think they even thought about the fact that he had one. I don't. That never came up into their conversation at all. I don't think they realized that he had an idol.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is so that's the one thing I was wondering too is John makes a comment before going to tribal about how it'd be selfish for him to use the idol now. He's trying to save it for him or Jacqueline, whoever gets farther in the game, how he's not going to use it now. Granted, that was before all the mix up at tribal, so it changed, but I was thinking when he went in, I was like, oh man, does he have this really good plan? Does he have the idol buried somewhere at the beach so that if he gets voted out, that Jacqueline can go back and get it? But nope, apparently he had it in his pocket the whole time. So had he gotten voted out, there goes that idol too. So you
I'm
can't
wondering
really
if
save
you
it
can hand it off.
on your way out.
Yeah,
You're like,
I don't know if you
I love
can.
you, Jacqueline, as he stuffs it down like the back of her bikini.
I'm wondering if that's allowed. I mean, it says you have to leave tribal council area immediately, but you see him not leaving immediately, so to speak. So I don't know what's allowed, really.
I wonder if he could just like leave his bag, not take
Yeah.
his bag, and just walk away and have Jacqueline take his bag. See, then that's what I was wondering: is there ways to hand that stuff off? Because if there is, granted he's not smart enough, but why didn't John Rocker hand off an idol to Julie?
Right. Well, they weren't even together then. Remember, they were
Oh,
separated.
that's right. That's right. They were on two separate tribes.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. Can you imagine if you were on two separate tribes and somehow told like your significant other, "Hey, if I get voted out under the third plank in tribal
Right.
council
That would be badass. I
area,"
want to see that season of Survivor.
walk into tribal council and just be like, "Yoink! I'll take this idol that was left here for me." I mean, because I've only seen one time when an idol was handed off between tribes. It could have happened more than once, but it was when it was handed off at the end of a challenge to Russell Hentz.
Right.
And I'm trying to think if it's ever been done at Exile, because you could easily hand it off at Exile if
Right.
there's
No one's around.
two different tribes. But
Yeah. Huh. That'd be interesting to see.
so
I want
yeah,
that to happen now.
internal tribal like idol swap. Like you go into tribal not even knowing, and then you're just like, I am now safe. Yes, like I think that'd be pretty sweet. But so tribal gets all crazy because I'm trying to think, what did Keith exactly say? Like what brought
Keith said, "Stick to the plan." Keith he starts talking, and then he looks at Reed and says, "Let's just stick to the plan." And everyone fucking saw it, and that's when everyone starts freaking out.
But
That's Jacqueline tells Natalie, "We're just gonna vote with you at that point." So Jacqueline because Jacqueline was one of the people that it was supposed to be John, Jacqueline, and Reed were gonna vote Wes,
right.
and then Natalie, Baylor, Missy, and Alec were all voting Keith. So Jacqueline at that point wanted everyone to vote Keith, and if they had actually done that, it would have been a mess. The whole thing would have been a mess. But then John says to her, "No, no, we're not doing that." So Jacqueline was trying to get John to switch at that point because it was supposed to be John, Jacqueline, and Reed, and they thought for sure that Reed wasn't with them after what was just said. So they were thinking that they only had 2 votes on West at that point, anyways. And they're like, "Well, let's just switch to Keith." Well, that's what Jacqueline said, and John was like, "No, no, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that." And then Natalie looks at John and says, "Well, you better play your idol," and that's how it all went down.
I wonder why Natalie knew, because John seemed clueless.
Natalie just was fucking listening. I think Natalie was just listening to what was going on around her and realized, oh, fuck, we don't have what we think we have at all.
Yeah, because there was definitely a lot of whispering and a lot of talking, and including at the end, right before voting. Reed even looked over at Jacqueline and is like, "We're still good. Go!" Like he like really sold it again at the end, but because the votes worked out the exact way that they wanted them to, that Reed wanted them to. It was just that extra idol got played, which is what threw everything off.
Right. Right. Yeah, they would have gotten rid of John. Basically, if Keith had not said anything, they wouldn't have suspected that Keith and Reed were together, and John wouldn't have played his idol.
I'm trying to think of Reed's smarter play. So he had one tribe thinking he was voting one way when he was really voting the other, and one part of the tribe in on that plan. He should have just told John and Jacqueline that these guys still think I'm with them. They think I'm voting this way. And that would have alleviated that whole, granted it's hindsight, but even Keith saying that, they would have been like, because Keith thinks that he's voting with them is why he's doing that.
Yeah.
And there would have
But
been...
it might have been just enough uncertainty that would have made John want to play his idol still.
True.
You know what I mean?
True. Because I think he had absolutely no
No,
thoughts
he was
on
not
playing
going to play that idol. And he was going to go home.
Yeah. I wish he would, because that would have been a huge blindside.
Oh, I know. I hate that Keith went home. It
Because,
sucks.
no, Keith didn't go home.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wes.
West because Keith used
yeah.
his out. And no, Keith, in an act of fatherly goodness, offered it to his son.
Yeah.
And his son was like, "Nope, you have it, play it." And
He would have gone home if he hadn't.
yeah, oh yeah,
He still got the
and
vote.
I think they knew that. I think Keith knew that one of us is going home. So if I give this to Wes, I'm going to go home, and I think he was okay with that.
Yeah.
Whereas Wes, I'm not sure if Wes had any. Wes was thinking about chicken nuggets. He was like, "If I get voted out of here, I'm going to that chicken nugget buffet. I'll show everybody there how many I can."
I guarantee you, he went back to the Ponderosa and got so drunk and ate so much food that he puked that night.
Do you think he got drunk off of 2 beers?
I bet he drank way more than that. They have got drunk off 2 beers, but I guarantee you, he put back enough till he got sick that night.
Do you think when they get back there, there's just like this endless supply of beer?
I think there's been a supply of everything: food, beer, women. Not really women, but I think that it's a nice place. It's like being at a 5-star hotel, I think.
Because is it a camp? Is it? I've never seen the behind the scenes of what Ponderosa is. I should
I
watch
haven't
those.
either.
My thought process was it was a camp.
Well, now I know
somewhere.
that there were seasons where it was definitely a hotel that they were staying at. They ran out a hotel for like 3 months.
Okay.
That's their hotel, basically. I don't know what it is every time because I mean we talked about the production camp and I looked that up some more actually and went back and rewatched all that one segment of that
Oh,
Survivor where and it is a little bit shady feeling, but I mean maybe because like I don't know if we were even recording when we talked about this last week, where the season where Poverty won. Just to recap, people that are listening, where Alec, I don't remember the other guys' names. They get voted out. One guy gets sent home for a hurt finger, and then for anyone that doesn't know what the hell we're talking about, supposedly in a season of Survivor, three people snuck into a production camp and were stealing Gatorade and Snickers, right? Wasn't it Snickers?
yeah,
Something like
something like
Gatorade and
that.
something, and hiding it, and then they get caught, and they one of them gets hurt running back to camp, and then after that, those three people get removed from the game in succession. But the show doesn't actually tell you that they got caught doing something wrong. But so anyways, I rewatched that segment, and they do definitely get voted out. And it does seem like the dynamic of the game changes in a weird way. But like when they send that guy home for the hurt finger, it didn't seem like I was mainly watching Jeff to see if Jeff just like hated these people at that point, and it's not clear. So I don't know, man. It's kind of weird.
Was his finger like barely a paper cut? And they were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you're gonna
it
die.
wasn't
You better
that hurt.
go
That's the
home."
thing. Like it was swelling up and stuff, and they were like, "Well, if it gets infected, it'll go to your bones, and if it goes to your bones, you're gonna die." And he was like, gotta go right now." So yeah, I don't know, man. It didn't seem like he had the death on his finger, but who
And
knows?
so, how'd the one chick get hurt? Like, she hurt her knee.
It
How-
doesn't show you.
so-
It's just it comes back, and she mysteriously hurt her knee
Is-
in the night.
is
That's
that
all it
really-
tells you. She hurt her knee in the night. Yeah.
Can you imagine being the producers or whatever who have to like put that together, and the anger that they must be feeling as she
I'd be so mad.
randomly hurt
Like
her
you want
knee?
to at that point, I think you want to send those people home, and you want to shame them to the public. Like they're basically children. They couldn't even come out here and act like adults and do this fucking game. Like I'd be more mad at them than anyone that's ever quit the game. I think.
I bet that they. Well, have any of them ever come back?
I don't think so. No, no, I don't think. Obviously not. You're not going to bring those people back,
Yeah,
right?
you would actually almost want. You'd almost think that Survivor would reveal that to show. If you ever get on the show, don't fucking cheat. You ain't gonna win. Like,
Right.
kick your asses out of here.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't have. I'm surprised they haven't always had everything in the production camp in locked boxes. Like the coolers should be locked. Like you
Well,
shouldn't be able to get anything.
How far away do you think production camp is?
I don't know. It's somewhere on the same island they're on, though.
Yeah, it can't be that far because of the fact that you'd have to get all the equipment over there every day and change batteries and all that fun stuff. But you'd almost think with somebody's taping them at all times, right?
Right. That's
How
what
do
I
you
thought.
sneak
It's
off
not
to
that-
production camp?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, obviously there's periods of time at night when no one's around. I guess like I would have thought it would be like all the time. They're sleeping, right? Watching them. They're
Yeah,
sleeping.
I guess maybe there would be like their ship change or whatever, and that they assume like rules of Survivor during like this time frame you can't go do anything. Might be the case because otherwise you could get up and go like look for an idol or something like that. Because that's one thing I find that would be very difficult about the game. If I have a clue to an idol, everybody was around during the day, I'm gonna wait till night and I'm gonna sneak off and go find this idol. But you sneak off, yeah, there's a camera dude like, hey, wait up, like I'm
Right.
right behind you.
Right.
Like people are gonna know what
Yeah,
you're
I
doing.
don't think that. I think they're not allowed to go out in the woods at night because I've never seen anyone do that.
Yeah,
like-
it must not be.
Because there's lots of deadly shit, right?
I would assume. I mean, not as much as the lions in Africa or the tigers in Africa, but
Right. Well, I imagine too they come into the island like in advance and they kind of exterminate. Like I bet they're terrible for the environment.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think they come in and just like kind of wreck the place. Like the camp wood they always find. That's obviously like planted, for them to pick up off the
Mhm.
ground.
Yeah. So, yeah. I really wonder how they go out and find idols even during the day though. Like, how do you sneak off?
Well, like think about those seasons too, where like I don't remember who it was, but he made like a little hidey hole where everyone would like hang out.
Yeah,
and he built,
Tony.
like a whole like fucking shed basically up against a tree. I don't
Yeah.
know what it's called, like a hunter's. Anyways, and then you have the cameraman there with him. Like, how the hell does that ever work? Like, there's so many seasons where you see these people, they're off like doing their little thing by the water, and there's someone sneaking up, and there's always a cameraman in his pocket. Like that camp. The whole island must be noisy as fuck with production, and so you get used to all the like,
And you don't pay
they're fucking
attention.
over there sawing something or what, you know what I mean? Like there must be a lot of ambient noise from all the production crew all the time.
Yeah,
and she's
because
used to it.
you're right, because they often overhear people's conversations because they happen to get close enough. Yeah, how does that cameraman get close enough? Like, because
Right.
they're always like looking at the camera, like, hey, they're talking about me. I can hear what they're saying 2 feet
Right.
away, but they have no idea that I'm
Yeah,
here.
right. Yeah.
Like,
Like I've often wondered if the people talking just assume, oh, that's just a cameraman over there. You know what I mean? They don't even think about there could be a contestant there listening to with the cameraman. They're just used to cameramen hiding in places and filming them. So they're like, oh, it's just the cameraman.
man, as fun as it would be to be on Survivor, which would be the ultimate goal, I guess a second consolation prize. I would love to go watch the filming of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just
It'd be
to
fun just to watch the production of the whole thing.
Yeah, just to get a lot more insight into how it works and what it is and things like that. Though there's probably a lot of stuff that you're not supposed to talk about. So I'd be,
Yeah, I've read a bunch of the AMAs. I'm sure you have too,
yeah,
from cameramen and stuff like that, and that's interesting just to read.
yeah. I read that one cameraman. It's like super freaking long, and I think I read it like starting to finish a few times because
Yeah.
I wanted to get like more information on it. But back to Tribal, since we didn't quite finish that out.
Oh yeah.
At the end, John gets leery because Natalie tells him to, so he pulls his idol and he plays his idol, which makes Keith play his idol, which ends up making Wes
Right.
ultimately
And Keith
go
like he was
home.
still hesitating, didn't he? Like he was still like it took him a minute to decide he was even going to play his idol. He kind of sat there and looked at
Well,
Wes.
I
and looked,
think honestly what was going through his mind was that they realized that Reed was lying, that the other alliance did, and he thought maybe they targeted Reed to get. Oh no, they couldn't. He had immunity.
yeah.
So never mind. That's wrong. Yeah, yeah. There's no reason to hesitate then because there's nobody else they were gonna turn against.
I'd never really thought about it, but it's perfect that you can still play your idol after someone else plays theirs because really, Keith could have not played his idol if John didn't. You know what I
Right,
mean? I mean,
right.
he probably still needed to, I think, because it would have been four. Well, no, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah, he would have made it. No, he would have
Yeah,
been fine. And he even mentioned that if I can get further in this game without even needing to play this idol, it'd be great.
yeah,
So, yeah, ends up that Wes went home. So that leaves just the 3 versus 5 now again.
yeah.
So unless something drastically changes,
They need
that's
to get. The thing is, they don't have idols anymore. The only idol is Natalie, and
right.
she's not going to do it to Chip.
They might
Blindside on
replant
Jackman.
these ones, though.
They should. They should.
No, replanting them both.
I mean, that'd be interesting if someone finds both of them.
Or how do they give the clue to that? You think it'll
Right.
start coming in some rewards? Because you can't really what do you give the clue to both idols in Exile?
Right.
There's
there's not
two
enough time for
jars.
that.
They both have clues. They're just different clues.
Yeah, there's not enough time really for them to do it through Exile, anyways, because there's not going to be that many more Exiles before the whole game is over.
True. Yeah, I hope they bring it back to the rewards. When they
Yeah.
go on those rewards, like now that it's like getting down to less and less people, I love it when they take like, you won this trip, pick 2 people to go with you type of deal. That's when I want to see them giving this thing out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that too because it's funny watching them sometimes pick people that aren't even in their alliance, thinking they can like
Sway
bring
them.
It's, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's always interesting to see how they decide to do that, and then you got to think about who you're leaving back at camp to sit there because it's funny how quickly the game can change around those rewards. You know, like all these people were buddy buddy, and then someone wins reward doesn't bring the people that they thought they were buddy buddy with, and now they're back at camp pissed off,
Yep.
and like suddenly they hate them, and then next thing you know they're getting voted out.
Yep.
So,
Happens a lot in this show. It's a social game for sure. There's no question about that. So scenes from the next Survivor.
I watched it. I don't remember what I saw now though.
I mean, it was basically John and Jacqueline were getting in a fight. Is the way that they spun it to
Oh,
look
right,
like.
right. Yeah.
So-
She's like, I get rid of him or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm curious how that one's gonna play out. The thing that I'm more upset with is, and I thought it was for this week, but I forgot that I didn't watch the show, until today. So anytime since Wednesday, I think during football, I was watching some football, and the freaking commercials in the middle of football for Survivor, and I was kind of hesitant on whether I was going to watch it or not, knowing I wasn't caught up. But it shows Jeff going, "Okay, hold your palms out. 3, 2, 1, reveal." And they were at Tribal Council, and I was like, "Are you fucking giving away the fact that you're gonna have a split vote? or
Wow,
a
really? So
tie vote.
they may be drawing stones next
Or
day.
maybe they just threw that in there for shits and giggles for something else. But yep,
I haven't seen them draw stones in
yep,
forever. When's
yep.
the last time they did that? It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a
Because
while.
it only
I don't know.
happens at a certain point in the game.
When
Wait,
there's a tie that you can't.
yeah, but at a certain point they switch from the stones to fire again, right? If it's like Final Four or
Yeah,
something.
I think the rules on that change every season on what they do with the ties.
See, I wish that was something that was like, where's the official rule book?
I
I
know
want like a magazine.
I've been asking for it forever. We're gonna hashtag Jeff Probst. We need official rule book. Like there you go.
Get on it, people.
So yeah. So the only time I remember it seeing is, and the weird thing I don't like about the stones is I remember once it was if you can't decide. God, one of them was so weird. One season it was there was like you had to unanimously decide who went home. Everybody had to agree, or you drew stones. And of course, the one I can't remember who it was, but this one chick was like, "I'm not going to agree to go home, so therefore we all have to, everybody has to draw stones because she's not going to send herself home." And a guy who wasn't even voted for is the guy who ends up leaving.
See, I don't remember that. I remember like normally the way it happens is, or the way I always remember it happening is you vote. Like let's say this time, let's say they had tied or something. Let's say it was Wes and John. They were completely tied. They vote again.
Just for those two people.
Right, just for those two people. And if they're tied a second time, now they draw stones, but Wes and John don't. So now they're immune, and everyone else draws stones. That's how I always remember it happening in the past.
That is true. I forgot that they will get immunity. I kind of like that.
No, yeah, it's like either you all get together and agree, or now you're all fucked.
Right.
And what I can't remember is if the guy with the immunity idol is also still immune, or if he has to draw stones too.
Because can you imagine if you go into a tribal with immunity and you end up going home because it comes down to a tie stone vote?
Right. See, that's why I can't remember. I don't know. I can't remember if the guy with the hidden immunity, or not hidden immunity, but just immunity, gets to keep it.
And
Or if
what
he has to
happens
draw
if you play
stones,
your
too.
immunity?
Right, the hidden immunity. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Rule
because
book.
like
Need
let's say it was John and Wes were tied, but like Natalie had paid her hidden immunity and it wasn't even used. Would she not have to draw? I don't know.
Oh, I need the rule book so bad.
Right.
So bad. But yeah, I'm really curious if there's really going to be a stones thing. And if there is a stone, like drawing, like sorry to ruin it for everybody else who's out there as well. I mean, but why would you put that in a commercial? That's
Right.
that's huge. That's huge. I mean,
Like,
that's
no matter what. Like you should put that. You should never reveal that. That's the end of the episode.
right. I mean, they didn't show who it was. It had them all put their hands out, and he was like, "Okay, 1, 2, 3, reveal." And then I think they were turning hands, and all of a sudden it went like Survivor, like across the screen. And by the way, everybody out there, I want to clarify something. This is my left hand. Camera does not mirror the image, by the way. Last time I said something about, look, Guude, I'm raising my left hand, and people were like, that's your right hand, you idiot.
Yeah, you know what? When I watched this show back, I watched it the other day, and I was like, that's not the jet. Like, because like your green screen's now over here. Like everything flips.
Oh, does it even flip for...
Yeah, like on YouTube.
Interesting.
Everything's
So it must show...
what I'm seeing on Skype.
So from what you see on Skype, your blue curtained window is on the left.
That's on my right.
That's funny as hell. But on your screen. Is it on your screen on the right as well?
It is on my... I don't remember
Are you looking at your Skype thing? Can you see yourself in Skype?
Yeah, on my Skype thing, it's over here on the right.
It's on your right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. It's on the left for me.
Oh.
So
yeah,
that means
it's
because
reversed.
I was gonna say my thing is like what I'm recording, what I'm seeing in Skype from my camera is the same as what I'm seeing that is being recorded, but it must be reversed. So you're actually seeing me raise my right hand right now.
Yes. That's your right.
Everybody's watching me raise my left hand according to the way that the thing is.
Yeah,
reversed.
I think so, yeah.
So it's because the camera. I think I could set it to mirror, but I didn't. It doesn't mirror. It's a direct reflection. So, or it doesn't rotate. I mean, so
Yeah.
So it really is my. I did say the right thing. I do know my right from my left.
Right, you're not a fucking... Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm saying I'm
It
not
gets
a
pretty
moron.
bad when the YouTube commenters are telling you don't even know your right from your left hand anymore.
I wanted to clarify. So looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Them
it's-
tonight.
For them tonight, yeah. For us tomorrow, and for me, probably a week from now when I
Right,
actually
right.
get to watch that thing.
I should do that, but I don't know when I'd find time. I like
I'm at the
watching
fire
that night.
station on Wednesday night, so I can't watch it on Wednesday nights for sure. So I just watch it when I get a chance. And this week it happened to be an hour ago.
I wanted to tweet, like, people were tweeting me last Wednesday night. Like, the bad thing about this show is people now want to send their spoilers my direction, so I can't even look at my phone on Wednesday nights. I just, like, put it away because there's, like, it's so full of spoilers
Yeah,
there.
I actually have had a couple episodes, not ruined per se, but some big twists in them revealed. Not from people being an asshole and being like, haha, spoiler to you, but it was because
Yeah.
they were like, I can't wait till you talk about blah, blah, blah on the show. It
Right.
was exciting. I want to know what your take. And I was like, I didn't know that happened yet.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I'm glad people are enthused, but yeah, I don't read my phone on Wednesday nights anymore. I don't even look at it.
so nobody call Guude. Nobody, no family members have any family emergencies on Wednesday nights because Guude will not be there to help.
You have to die.
That's
You've been voted out of the island.
survival of the fittest, baby.
uh,
So anything else on Survivor?
no.
That's
I'm
it.
excited to see. Who do you want to win now? So I know I was saying earlier I want West to win, but I didn't want to ruin who got voted out.
I'm thinking Reed. Reed's got to be my go-to just because I like Reed. I think he's playing a poor game though.
Yeah.
But I don't want Alec to win for sure. I think he was so douchey at the beginning. Granted, he's turned himself around, but now he's doing nothing. Now he's like a null character.
Right.
He'd literally be riding coattails, whereas some people were upset about the people I said who have ridden coattails before, so maybe you guys don't all think so as well. I feel like he'd be riding coattails if he makes it to the end.
I do too.
Baylor and Missy, I think they're working, and they're working hard. I don't want them to win, though, just because I don't like them as they're
Baylor's
who they
grown
are.
on me. I don't know why, but I'm starting to like Baylor more.
I think
don't know
she's
why.
a little smarter than I gave her credit for earlier, but I still think she's... I don't know, she cries too much. I don't know.
I'm wondering about their sister because up until this last episode, I never knew that she had a sibling.
Oh, I didn't
Like,
even
they
hear it.
always talked about. It always seemed like Missy and Baylor take on the world, and then at one point, her having a sibling got brought up in this last episode, and then you just forget about it immediately. But like, it's like they never talk about. I don't know. I'm wondering if it must be a half sibling.
That's what I was gonna ask. You
It's
think it's
so many
full blood
times.
or...
Yeah, it almost feels like it's like I don't know, like that person's off living with their other family or something. I don't know.
Well, Natalie might not have a sister anymore. I mean, she said she's got her new twinny. She's got the idol. She called it her twinny.
Oh,
like,
I
this
forgot.
This is
Yeah.
my twinny. Like,
Just losing her shit, basically.
Nadia's been replaced. Like, or maybe
Right.
Natalie thinks it's Nadia. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey,
No, it's basically like Wilson at this point.
Yep.
She's lost her mind. It's like her only friend. I think I want Keith to win. If out of everyone, if it's not Keith, I hope it's Reed. Other than that, if anyone else that wins, I'm not going to be satisfied. I think, though, like I said, Missy and mainly Baylor's been growing on me, so I don't think she has a chance of winning. I think it's going to be in John and Jacqueline and like Natalie in the final three.
So, as of now, I think even if John, Jacqueline, and Keith, let's say, make it to the end, I think Keith's going to have it based on who's on the jury now. Because there's no way Jeremy's voting for John. Jeremy hates John.
Yeah.
I would assume. You never
Jeremy
heard him
hates
talk.
Keith, too.
Oh, that's right, he does. Oh. I don't...
He'd vote for Reed.
I don't
and Josh
know.
would vote for Reed, obviously.
Oh, yeah. They would. I think they would vote for Reed.
So I think if
But
it goes down to John and Jacqueline or Reed, Reed wins. Well, but if it was John, Jacqueline, and Natalie, who do you think would win? I think John or Jacqueline would win.
I would agree, but... I don't know. I think Jeremy might vote for Natalie. Because Jeremy and Natalie were close. I guess that depends on who else they piss off throughout the...
Yeah, Wes and Keith might vote for Natalie too, honestly. Yeah, and Missy
John-
and Baylor would vote for
Yeah, John
Yeah.
is not the beloved, like, Boston Rob.
right.
He's not the guy who just plays the game great and everybody thinks he plays fantastic games and therefore votes for him. He's just kind of, like, pissing people off. Not in the, like, harsh way like Russell Hantz did, though.
Yeah,
In a
yeah.
very subtle, like, I'm getting rid of my alliance for absolutely no reason because I'm dumb type of way.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting finale, depending on how the rest of this plays out here in the next couple episodes.
Yeah. It'll be good.
Yep.
So,
Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right, everybody. See you next week.